2 nights ago saw the chance for a flip of the majority of the House. We will tell you how the big first election came out.
Oh my goodness, I just pray to God that we keep the majority of the House. My life will be miserable if I have to go back with Nancy Pelosi as the Speaker. I don't know what I'll do.
USD 383 had a bond issue up for vote on Tuesday as well, with $129.5 million at stake for the district.
It's only 31 degrees out here, and this snow is really starting to come down. Catch me later in the show to see how long this will continue.
This is KKSU-LD, broadcasting in high definition from Kansas State University, covering Manhattan, Riley County, and the Flint Hills. You're watching Channel 8 News.
Welcome to Channel 8 News. I'm Tiffany Horn.
And I'm Monica Diaz. Today's show is full of election updates, and we start with the Kansas gubernatorial race. This year's elections were highly contested nationwide, but one of the closest may have taken place right here in Kansas. Our very own Austin Springer and Chase Swenson were in Topeka on Tuesday night.
In a tightly contested governor race, Democratic candidate Laura Kelly edged out Republican Chris Kobach this last Tuesday. Both watch parties in Topeka on election night. Cheers erupted from the Ramada as it was announced Laura Kelly won. After her victory, she commended the character of Kansan voters this election.
That raw grit, that fierce determination is part of our history. It makes us who we are.
Not too far away at the Capitol Plaza Hotel, there was a much more somber tone. After it was announced that Kelly had won the election, Kobach took the stage to speak to his followers.
Thank you for everybody who supported us and prayed for us. I know that we were carried by prayer. It was a tough race. We battled close to the very end, but this one just wasn't God's will.
Just moments ago, Governor-elect Kelly spoke in this very room on many different issues, with her top priority being education, on what she plans on working with Republicans to improve within the state of Kansas. In her acceptance speech, Governor-elect Laura Kelly stressed the importance of bipartisanship and has made fixing the education system in Kansas her top priority.
Legislators, there are 165 legislators, so it'll be a matter of building relationships with the new legislators, maintaining the ones that I have with the legislators who will be returning, and bringing them together and working on the priorities. Education is clearly one of the #1 priorities, but so is Medicaid expansion.
Cheers of excitement echoed throughout Topeka, with many voters having a bright outlook on Kansas's future.
Now tonight, celebrate. Tomorrow, let's get to work.
From Topeka, Austin Springer, Channel 8 News.
December will be Jeff Collier's last full month in office, as Laura Kelly is set to swear into office this upcoming January.
One local item on the Riley County ballot was a USD 383 bond referendum. Channel 8 reporter Jordan Pulliam has more.
The extensive $130 million bond issue for USD 383 was officially passed on Tuesday night. Members of the school board, the bond committee, parents, and various district faculty settled in at Kites to anxiously await the results. Their anxieties were put to rest when they heard that the final unofficial vote was 10,000 yes to 6,000 no.
What a great evening. You know, it's 3 years worth of work to get us to where we are today, and it's a great thing for the community. It doesn't just help the district, it helps develop our area. It's a regional victory.
There's things we needed to do with this to prepare us better for the future, so we're going to meet the needs now and down the road, so I feel real good about that.
This bond includes projects that will affect every single school in the 383 district, as well as busing and central kitchen facilities. Now that the bond has passed, taxes are going to increase. For the average home in Manhattan, which is about $200,000, taxes will increase by $180 a year. That adds up to $15 a month and about 50 cents a day.
What we think is important is basically what we fund, and if we think education is important to basically build a strong country and democracy, that's where I want to put my money. So it's worth it. It's worth the investment.
Construction on some of the larger projects could begin as early as August 2019. From Manhattan, I'm Jordan Pulliam, Channel 8 News.
For a more detailed look at what changes are to come now that the bond is passed, visit USD383.org. The bond summary, concept maps, and much more can be found under the District Information tab.
Republican incumbent Roger Marshall defeated Democrat Alan LaPolice to keep his seat as Kansas District's 1 representative in the U.S. House of Representatives. Marshall and his team gathered in Great Bend, Kansas on Tuesday night to celebrate his victory, entering his second term. Channel 8's Brian Smith went to Central Kansas for the story.
Two seats have flipped.
Congressman Roger Marshall is a longtime resident of the Great Bend area, where he held his watch party on election night. Marshall, an obstetrician by trade, says his main goal representing District 1 in Kansas is to focus on the future of health care.
You know, absolutely. I want to fix health care. People sent me to Congress to fix health care. I think I know how to do it. And as we rise to leadership positions, I think we'll have that opportunity.
After spending 2 years in Washington working alongside elected officials, Marshall speaks highly of President Trump and his time at the White House.
It's been great working with President Trump. I've had several bosses, coaches just like him. He's made promises, he's kept his promises, so I've had no problems working with him. We have a great relationship, and I look forward to working with him for the next 2 years.
Dozens gather here in Central Kansas in Roger Marshall's hometown to support him and celebrate his second consecutive victory. Marshall and his team went into election night with confidence and a feeling of ease. His campaign manager, Brent Robertson, says the election is very different than the last.
We didn't spend nearly the amount of money that we did. We hardly spent any money, which I think some people were pretty relieved by.
Robertson and the rest of Marshall's team talk about how much they enjoy working for the congressman.
Oh, yeah. Well, he's the Energizer Bunny. I said it earlier, but he never stops working. We did 63 town halls, a town hall in every single county his first term. We had more town halls than any congressman in the entire Congress, which I think is a feat in and of itself.
Marshall looks forward to the changes coming during his next term.
We've made some promises, we've kept some promises, and I'm very interested in the future. What are we going to do with trade agreements? What are we going to do with immigration? What are we going to do with health care? So I think I have solutions. I want to be part of the problem-solving team. So I'm just anxious to get back to work.
Marshall will get back to work when Congress is back in session on January 3rd of next year. In Great Bend, Brianne Smith, Channel 8 News.
Marshall won the election by nearly 40% against LaPolice to represent the 1st District of Kansas for the next 2 years.
The midterm elections drew a record number of voters nationally. Around 114 million people submitted ballots. Students' interest at K-State was also high, and now we go live to Channel 8 reporter Julia Jorns, who's in the middle of K-State campus, to tell us why students made it a reason to go vote. Julia?
K-State students took action this week and shared why their voices mattered in this year's midterm elections. Reporter Monica Diaz talked with some of these students on campus this past week.
2018 midterm election results have been released. For college students, midterms provide a platform to celebrate the privilege of voting and to let their voices be heard. Haley Spellman is a member of the Student Government Association on campus. She hosted an event called Party at the Polls to unite students and promote voting.
Party at the Polls is supposed to be kind of a fun way to build like a fun, enticing environment around just voting and civic engagement. So we're really trying to drive kind of a higher voter turnout going into the polls on Election Day.
The event brought in many students, giving them a place to go before or after they voted. As midterm season comes to a close, students weigh in on why their votes matter. K-State students across this campus decided that this was the year that their voices were going to be heard. Jacob Casey said he votes so his voice can be heard.
It's important that I vote as a college student because if it's going to affect my future, I want my opinions to be the ones that are heard.
Anna Spencer believes voting brings change.
Like when you vote, you also send a message to everyone else around you that it's important, and that's how change happens, by most people coming together and making a difference.
Ben Trickey urged students to understand that their vote has a large impact.
So I'd say, if you think voting doesn't affect you, you're wrong, as well as the fact that there's things that are up for vote that affects people that you know and people that you care about. So just because it doesn't doesn't feel like it affects you directly right now, it doesn't mean it won't later, or to people you care about.
According to the Harvard University Institute of Politics, only 16% of youth voted in 2014 midterms. This year, 40% of 18 to 29-year-olds said they would definitely vote, an increase of 150% from 4 years ago.
I'm here with K-State student Aurora Meyer to talk about why she thinks voting is important. Aurora, why do you think voting is so important as a college student?
Well, there's a lot of reasons, mainly because voting is how we in America are the change that we want to see in our government. And because, especially as a young voter, we are not polled when they do the likely voter polls, when Gallup and the other polling companies do the likely voter polls. We get to skew the results. So it's fairly exciting being able to be the change that we want to see in our government.
And were you able to vote in this year's midterm elections?
I was not, because I missed the I'm not a Kansas resident, and I missed the out of state registration date, which has me upset.
I think that's all we have time for. Back to you guys at the desk.
Thanks, Julia. We have more information on the election results for Pottawatomie County.
And we'll hear from Tom Phillips himself about his re-election right after the break.
Your identity is who you are.
Feels pretty good. Hurts a little bit when I'm putting pressure on it, but not too bad.
What's your pain level at?
Probably like a 3.
Okay, cool. So much better than yesterday.
Yeah, a lot better.
All right. Well, I'm gonna start to slow it down now.
Okay.
This was my first time taking an online course, and well, it went really, really well. It really did not feel like an online course for me. It felt like we were in a classroom talking and discussing and collaborating with each other. It's a renowned university, and I really take pride in calling myself a Wildcat, and I'm really proud that I'm a K-State alumni now. So I think it adds up a lot of value that I'm from K-State.
Welcome to K-State. We're so excited all of you came to visit us here on campus. We're going to be starting our tour here in front of Anderson Hall, which is our administrative building and kind of our iconic building on campus. It houses our president's office and our vice president for student life. All right, let's get started. We're going to be going to the Union next. It houses our board.
While the governor's race captured national attention, local eyes also focused on the race in the 67th district between incumbent Tom Phillips and Alex Van Dyke. Chandler News reporter Rachel Hogan has the story.
Experience, leadership, integrity. That's what Kansas State Representative since 2012, Tom Phillips, says he represents and what the voters of the 67th district voted to uphold on Election Day. Phillips received 62% of the vote, while Democrat Alex Van Dyke received 38%. Phillips said his re-election will allow him to continue to support the Manhattan community and the state.
And I'm very pleased that the citizens and the voters of Manhattan and the 67th District have given me the opportunity to return and make a difference for the state of Kansas and make Manhattan a better community.
Meanwhile, the 66th district also voted to re-elect incumbent Democrat Cindy Carlin with 77% of the vote. Her Libertarian opponent Edgar Chambers received only 23%. Carlin said her short-term goals include support for schools and higher education. In the long term, she hopes to continue partisan relationships.
Because it's been nice to work with people from both sides, and I think bringing people together and getting Kansas to feel like they can trust us again would be really a good goal for me.
While the votes funneled in on Tuesday evening, the atmosphere at the Riley County Democrats' watch party at Kite's Bar and Grill was hopeful, then elated when the governor's race was called.
While the door to state government opens for Democrat Laura Kelly and remains open for Phillips, it is closed for Van Dyke. After his first foray into politics, he remains hopeful about his political future.
Van Dyke said he hopes Phillips keeps a few things in mind during the coming months and years.
There will be more eyes on him as he hadn't had any challengers since 2012, and I don't think that's going to happen again.
Van Dyke also said we can expect to see him continue to work in politics. In Manhattan, Rachel Hogan, Channel 8 News.
Specifically, Carlin and Phillips said they aim to address the internet sales and methods of securing school funding when the House convenes, while also getting acquainted with Laura Kelly as governor.
Republican Dee McKee won the race of county commissioner for Pottawatomie County. Channel 8 News reporter Amelia Andrews got the opportunity to meet with newly elected county commissioner as well as candidate Sage DeBeast.
Residents of Pottawatomie County tuned in on Tuesday night to watch the results of the general election. 3 candidates ran for county commissioner for District 1, including Republican Dee McKee, Democrat Sage DeBeast, and Independent Papa Bear Nathaniel Gotch. There was a total of 3,475 ballots turned into Pottawatomie County's county commission race for District 1. Republican Dee McKee took the time to tell us about her race.
The campaign started and worked through with a lot of volunteers, which I really appreciate. And that's also a lot of talking to neighborhood people and dealing with issues like county commissioners do. We have a lot of calls on individual needs and challenges. We're close to the people, and that makes it a chance all the while you're elected to get to know people and know what they're expecting. And so as a campaign, you just go back to them and follow up and see if we've done the right thing and then ask for their vote.
Democratic candidate Sage DeBeast shared her inspiration for running for county commissioner.
I am a Democrat. I am the chair of the 1st Congressional District, the treasurer of my county party. I'm secretary of the Disability Caucus for the state. So advocacy, giving people a voice that haven't had one and knowing that they can. Representation matters. You don't see that many people with disabilities speaking up and advocating, and to give people the presence to say, hey, that's someone out there that looks like me, is speaking for me. That's what's needed. It's always been needed. And so if I can continue doing that, that's a win too.
One of McKee's goals for the future is to provide safe security on transportation for the commuting residents of Manhattan and Wamego. In Manhattan, Kansas, I'm Amelia Andrews, Channel 8 News.
Dee McKee says that safety, security, and taking care of the Wamego area is very important for Pottawatomie County. She believes basic services for people is a must for the quality of life.
Coming up, find out what's going on in the world of sports.
And will the snow continue to fall? We have that and more when we return.
You can actually see it.
Come on, more.
H1 minus H2 plus V1 squared minus V2 squared all over 2.
Are you ready?
I was a little hesitant, but I took the time and I looked at it. I said, number one, this is Kansas State University. That's a solid name institution that is a research institution. It's land grant. You're not going to get better than what Kansas State is and what Kansas State stands for.
A chance for winter to come earlier this year with all the snow that's been coming down today.
Yeah, that's right, Tiffany. I do happen to know we are under a winter weather advisory currently. Let's check in with Channel 8 weather reporter Jordan Pulliam to learn more. Jordan?
Thanks, Monica. So if we look here, we can see that there is a lot of precipitation throughout the country. Pushing in here to Kansas, we can see that the precipitation is moving up here into Riley County, giving us all the snow that students are seeing on campus and people are seeing starting to accumulate on the roads. If we take a closer look here at the Kansas map, around the state we're seeing low 30s, so over here in the northwest about 30 degrees, coming a little bit higher into 33, 34s and 32s for us here in Manhattan. So looking over here at our 24-hour agenda, around noon today, we're going to continue to see those snow showers, and we're going to have about a high of 35. Around sunset tonight, that snow is still coming down, getting a little bit cooler with 34 degrees. Tomorrow around sunrise, all that snow is going to be gone, thank goodness. It's going to be mostly clouds and a high of 28, so it's still going to be pretty chilly. Taking a look at our 5-day forecast, like we said today, 36 degrees, tomorrow high of 34, low of 18. For the game on Saturday, we have a high of 41, low of 21. On Sunday, high of 42 and low of 23 with some clouds, possible rain. On Monday, we're going to start off a new week with some chilly weather as well, 35 degrees, low of 15. Now we're going to take a look at our live shot in the quad at K-State. So right now, students are bearing this weather, walking to class in the snow, and that snow is going to continue for a majority of the day. So around 10 o'clock is when that snow will finally start to die down. We are now going to send it back to Monica and Tiffany at the desk.
Thanks, Julia. It will be a heavy dose of Manhattan and Lawrence teams in football this weekend. We will have more in Channel 8 Sports.
Left side 3 ball, yes! Throws it down! Wow! Oh my goodness, Steve! Way up above the rim and a block! Derrick Brown taking on Gildas Alexander, and he scores! Are you kidding? Kansas State is headed to the Elite Eight!
We are a family that does not tolerate discrimination of any kind.
A family that represents a diverse and eclectic population.
We are a family that believes
that diversity, inclusion,
and sportsmanship
are expectations.
We are a family that is supportive and seeks to promote a positive and welcoming environment.
A family that treats people with respect and dignity.
An empowered family.
Who empowers family.
We are
family, diverse and together.
Now throws it up the glass and it goes in! And long for Peyton Williams! To the left, it's wide open for Reinke. Yes! Three-pointer!
Goff gets the ball back, left baseline, 8-footer.
Good! Reinke's answer three-pointer. It's good!
It is a big football weekend in Manhattan.
Not only are the two Manhattan and Lawrence colleges squaring off this weekend, but Manhattan High takes a visit to Lawrence Free State. We now go to Kylie White, who has the stories.
The Manhattan High Indians look to keep their season alive as they faced off against Wichita West in the second round of their 6A playoffs. Reporter Casey Campbell has more.
Last Friday night, the 8-1 Manhattan High Indians faced off against the 6-3 Wichita West Pioneers in Manhattan. The Indians got off to a 22-0 lead to start off the contest before Wichita West scored a touchdown of their own to cut the lead to 22-6.
This time of year, it's about surviving and advancing. Sometimes we didn't look pretty, but we got the job done. This is a special group of kids. I'm very pleased at how they've went about accepting their roles and putting their egos on the shelf and just getting the job done.
After the quick start from Manhattan, Wichita West began to get things going on a 12-0 run of their own. However, that run was very short-lived as Manhattan responded by taking the kickoff back for a touchdown of their own to extend their already big lead.
One thing there where Wichita West got some things going on the offense, we scored on the kick return and it was almost scoring too quick. We needed to, we got to get back to ball control and help our defense out and run the clock.
It was here at Bishop Stadium where the Manhattan Indians beat the Wichita West Pioneers by a final score of 36-25. Senior running back Cavante McDonald was a big part, picking up 133 yards on the ground while also adding 3 touchdowns.
We came out aggressive. We know it's a second round of playoffs, and we have to stay focused and throughout the game. That's what we did, came out with the dub.
With the win over the Pioneers, the Indians have a matchup next week with Lawrence Free State.
Know what to expect, fast and physical. Free State got the crazy defense. I watched State film. It's going to be a tough game. Excited to play. Let's go.
From Seco Park in Manhattan, I'm Casey Campbell, Channel 8 News.
Last week, Channel 8 reporter Michaela Kitchen brought to us a touching story about the community raising money for Manhattan High soccer coach Frank Alonso. Alonso unfortunately lost his battle to pancreatic cancer last Sunday at Via Christi Hospital here in Manhattan. He coached in the area for over 20 years, impacting players across the community. Funeral services will be held this Saturday at First United Methodist Church, starting at 10 a.m. Frank Alonso was 52.
I know financial aid can be a little harder when you're a non-traditional student, but the financial aid office was great about answering questions, putting you in the right direction. It was just a great office.
TV and live on Facebook.
They give you all the tools that you need to succeed, from the video modules, well descriptive electronic communication. They really set the expectations clear, and there's really no surprises, and I would definitely recommend it.
The best-kept secret in Manhattan is not a secret anymore. I'm Wyatt Thompson, the voice of the Wildcats, and welcome to JP's Sports Grill. With daily chef-inspired specials, a full bar, and a diverse menu that has something for everyone, this place is guaranteed to impress. JP Sports Grill, your new favorite spot.
Welcome back. Manhattan High football is taking a road trip to Lawrence this weekend.
That's right, Monica. And with all the winter weather coming up, I'm curious to see how the weather would look on game day. Jordan, what should we expect?
Yeah, so the game is actually in Lawrence, and so it's a little bit different than what we're experiencing here in Manhattan. But overall, it's going to be pretty clear. Luckily, this snow won't be happening during the game, but it is going to be pretty chilly. So it's going to be in the low 20s throughout the night, especially around game time. It's going to continue to drop until around the end of the game, maybe around 9:15, 9:30. We are going to have some southwest winds as well coming in at about 7 miles an hour, so that could make it feel even colder. So just be careful, make sure that you are bringing your blankets, and wear a nice jacket.
Well, that's all we have for Channel 8 News. Be sure to tune in next Thursday. Thank you for watching.
This is Channel 8 News.